Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Train, and I thought I'd make a little commentary because I've kind of been interested in talking about this. I've been planning on trying to do a commentary like this for a while, but I just haven't really got the time to it, and I didn't really have the footage for it. Like, I didn't have a long enough bit of footage for it, so I ended up getting captured in this game about a couple weeks ago, so I thought I'd use this and be the perfect time for it. So, preface this. This entire story has been a dream that I've had for a few months. But just to sort of explain context of it, in I'm having the dream after I've graduated high school, so that's a thing. And one of the obvious things that tells you it's a dream is I'm viewing things in the dream from a third person perspective. Like, me in the dream, so like there's dream me and then there's me. Me is the person who's currently asleep and watching the dream. Dream me is the person who isn't real, they're fake, and they're living a life that I want to live, if that makes any sense. So, in this dream, I'm dating this girl who I'm friends with IRL, like in real life, and it's like we're not boyfriend, girlfriend, or anything, but we're friends. I've went to school with them. We're not necessarily dating. We're not necessarily together. It's just we're friends. We talk back and forth every so often, kind of thing. Not necessarily my crush either in high school, but definitely if the person asked me out, I'd say, yeah, sure, why not, kind of thing. But anyway, I'm getting a little off track, but that's just sort of the preface of what's going on. I'm still in high school, and this entire dream takes place within the span of a few weeks, I want to say. So, the first thing that immediately clicks off and makes me realize I'm having a dream is, obviously, the girlfriend. Because me having anyone living close to me as a boyfriend or girlfriend, because I'm bisexual, I'll swing both ways, but essentially that immediately clicks like, okay, yeah, it's a dream. But the thing that immediately tips me off about it is that makes me seem like something's off is things in the dream definitely felt way different than how I would have expected it to be. I'm still fairly easily, I guess I'm still very emotionally unstable. Like, I easily get sad, I easily get angry. I'm harder to make happy, kind of thing. In fact, I still suffer from that today, like emotional instability, I guess is the term I'm looking for. But essentially, I am walking to class with this girl. We'll call her Dawn for the sake of it. Just having a name that isn't the actual real person's name, so we'll call her Dawn. I'm walking to class with Dawn, and we'll call this person the bully. The bully decides to do the I don't know what to call it. It's just the whistle whenever you see whenever there's like a hot woman in a guy season, they do the whistle. I could replicate it, but A, it's too late at night. I'm recording this late at night, and B, I couldn't even do it if I tried. But you probably know what I'm thinking about. It's like that signature, like, hot girl whistle in like a movie or comedy show or something. But they do that. I'm like, oh, excuse me. Like, first of all, I personally find it rude that A, you're doing it obviously to somebody who's in a relationship, and B, in general, doing this whistle is extremely rude because that sort of just, in my opinion, I don't know what the actual thing, like the word I'm looking for is, but it makes them seem, I don't know. I don't want to say anything for it, but you know what I mean. It's like I felt very offended by it, and I'm like, okay, hey, could you not do that? And he sort of says, "Oh, what? Oh, what? You're trying to offend the girl that doesn't even love you?" I'm like, "What do you mean? She loves me. It's like, don't make up bullshit." And it's like and then he just laughs and walks away. So I'm obviously on the way to class. I mentioned, "Hey, is he just talking bullshit, or did he actually mean anything from that?" And Dawn says, no, no, it's nothing. Just don't worry about it. And then obviously we have our little, kind of like a quick little hug, kiss on the cheek kind of thing, and then we go off to our classes. And then lunch rolls around, and we're sitting at our table, just talking, eating. I don't tend to eat very much. I've definitely improved a lot better since then, because back then, whenever I ate something, I'd eat like half of it, and then I wouldn't touch it till the end of lunch, and then I'd finish it up towards the end of lunch, and then throw whatever I didn't eat away. Now I feel like I was a lot better with that, with finishing meals, in the sense of, even if I didn't like it, I at least ate most of it, and then finished what I liked, and then ate most of what I didn't like, kind of thing. But I digress. So we're at lunch, and I sort of just confront Dawn about it again. Like, is anything that bully said true? And I'm like, and she's like, no, not really. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. And obviously, when you hear the words "don't worry about it," in terms of whether you're a guy or a girl, I feel like that's a sign that says something's wrong. We need, like, and she's hiding it. I'm like, and I sort of just like nudge her and just say, is it something you don't want to talk about in school, kind of thing, or is it something you don't, or is it actually nothing? And she said, I don't think this is the time or the place to talk about it right now. And I'm like, okay, so I'll text you after school, and we'll talk about it on the phone or something, or over Skype. I think we either use Skype or FaceTime. No, yeah. Another big thing I noticed is I have an iPhone. IRL, I would never use an iPhone. I would rather shoot my left foot off with a shotgun than use an iPhone. So yeah, after school we FaceTime, we sort of just talk, and then I bring it up again. It's like, you wanted to talk about that thing the guy talked about, and she obviously said, she just sort of was kind of hesitant to talk about it, but she said, I don't know what exactly she said, but she basically was saying, like, I like the way we're going, but at the same time, something feels off. And I'm like, wait, so what do you mean by that? What do you mean something feels off? Is it me? Is it you? Or is it something? Is it us? What is it? I don't understand. And she says, it's not really something we can fix, but it's just... And I'm like, what is it? It's okay. And she said, it's you. You don't seem always happy to be with me, kind of thing. And I said, well, I do. Trust me, I love being with you. In fact, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be as happy as I am. I'm like, and then she said, are you really happy with me, though? And I said, yeah, of course. Like, I love you and everything. You're literally my world as of the past, like, 3-4 months. Kind of thing. And I'm like, and she's then sort of just, I guess, confronts me, well, would you do anything for me? And I said, yeah, of course. I defended you against that bully trying to hit on you. So that, if that isn't proof enough, I don't know what to tell you. And she says something that sort of makes this dream sort of nightmarish for me, because for me, a nightmare doesn't need to be something where it's like life-threatening, it sort of snaps you awake or something like that, but it's just something that you don't like in the dream. The dream wasn't good, it wasn't happy. She basically says, well, do you think you could help me with my problems? And I'm like, what kind of problems? Like, what are you getting at here? And she sort of just kind of doesn't insinuate it by directly saying it, but she basically says, do you think you can help me figure out a way to say thank you? And I'm like, thank you for what? I'm like, and then she sort of doesn't say anything else after that. She just sort of insinuates, like, how would I say thank you to somebody even if I don't know them that well? I'm like, what do you mean by that? It's like, are you saying thank you? Like, what did I do? Or what did somebody do that you don't know how to say thank you to? And she then just sort of goes silent, and then she changes the topic. And then we just sort of continue talking FaceTime and all that. We just talk on FaceTime. We just sort of have fun. We have our little... We play some little funny games together, because I'm the kind of person where I'll play like little games over the phone where it's just like... For example, they're like those little apps where you can link to Facebook and stuff like that. We played games like those on our phones, and we kept FaceTime open. Because I was the kind of person where because we obviously had we had school iPads, so we basically linked the school iPads up to each other, kind of thing. We just FaceTimed and did that. Although now, if you try doing that, you'd get detention within 5 seconds. But you know what I mean. So we did that, and then we just played, and then we both went to bed. The next day, it's like I was texting her saying, "Hey, wake up," kind of thing, making sure she's good for school. Sorry, I had the hiccups. I'm not like doing anything, but I might get a little teary-eyed about this because this is kind of sad. But I text her like saying, "Hey, good morning," stuff like that, because I'm the kind of person where I'll say good morning or like whatever, just no matter what. Even if it does seem kind of clingy, I'll say it just for the sake of it. Waking up to good morning is always a nice feeling. It just shows that somebody cares. But so I say that, and it's like she says good morning, but it's not. Doesn't see. I kind of read it as off, I guess, kind of like not the usual self. And I'm like, you okay? Something like that was kind of slow. Normally you're kind of quick with that. He says, yeah, I'm fine. And so I'm like, okay, she must have just woken up, must have had a pretty bad sleep. And yeah, so the day rolls on as normal. We both do our class and sort of thing. She's definitely seems kind of off, but it's nothing that wasn't normal. Everyone has a day where they wake up and they aren't like in the best of moods because they woke up on the wrong side of the bed or they didn't sleep very well last night, kind of thing. So I just write it off as she just had a bad morning. And then I go to FaceTime her after we get home and we've all finished all of our schoolwork, and she answers and she's crying, and I'm like, hey, what's wrong? Like, what happened? Why are you crying? And then that's when I noticed that she... God. Even like thinking about the image in my head, because the image still kind of scares me. That's when I noticed that her left wrist had some cuts on it. And I'm like... And I immediately say, hey, what happened to your wrist? Like, I'm kind of like trying not to insinuate that she did it, but I'm like concerned, obviously. So, and she's then, without saying anything, just nods. I'm like, and I'm basically just kind of like, I'd have lost for words, kind of thing, in that situation where like you can't think of anything to say other than like, I'm sorry, I guess, like, kind of thing. I didn't really know how to phrase it other than like, I'm sorry. I was even saying stuff like, why did you do that? Like, is it my fault or something? And she just was crying and crying, and I'm like, and I felt bad. So from that point on, I basically said, hey, is everything okay? Is it something I did that made you do that? And she's like, no, it's not your fault. And then we just sort of do our normal little our little FaceTime and games and stuff like that. And right before I sign off and we go to bed, I basically tell her, hey, I'm serious, if you ever need to talk, if you ever need something other than just FaceTime, I can give you my house address and I can see if we can arrange some nights over and stuff like that. If that makes you feel any better about us, I guess. And she said, okay, that sounds nice. The next day, I text her good morning. and I wait like 5 minutes because normally she would like text in 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, there's nothing. I'm like, okay, she might have overslept. I'm like, hey, you have to wake up. You have school. It's Friday. It's our last day of the week. Don't sleep in on me. Don't sleep in now. 5 more minutes pass. No response. I text her again. 5 more minutes pass. No response. I then, rather than try and FaceTime her or call her, I call the house phone. So not her cell phone, but her actual house phone, her parents' house. And I say, hey, could you check up on Dawn? I'm using the name Dawn again, but just for the sake of continuity, I say, hey, could you check up on Dawn for me? She's not answering her phone. And the parents say, okay, yeah, sure. Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, she's just not answering her phone. Like, obviously, with a little bit of a nervous voice, obviously. I check in, and it's like, and I got a call back saying fuck. I got a call back saying that she had, I can't remember myself to say it because it's something I never experienced. I never expect this person or even anyone in my life to do it. But she had basically overdosed on her sleeping medication and killed herself in her sleep. And I immediately just am on the phone, just in shock. I'm not talking, and I'm just like, why? Why did this have to happen? Kind of thing. And the first thing I do after that is I simply ask, hey, could you... And I ask the parents, because obviously I'm on the phone with the parents, and I ask, hey, could you do me a favor and just send me her phone, because I want to make sure I can save some of the pictures so I can have a remembrance page for her on Facebook. Because personally, if I wanted, I'd rather than have my Facebook deleted, I'd personally rather have a remembrance page where you sort of immortalize your Facebook or whatever. And I basically said, hey, can I just have access to the Facebook and stuff like that so I can have just something to remember her by? And obviously they sent me her phone. They obliged greatly. They sent me her phone. And the first thing I see when I open up the phone is messages from the bully saying, just insulting her and calling her ugly, calling her a bitch, calling her all sorts of shit. That any person, whether or not you're a guy or a girl, just those kind of insults that make you feel that way, that make you feel really angry with that person or upset or whatever. And reading those, even though it was a dream, I still felt the emotion from that sort of feeling of being insulted and being bullied to the point where you think that suicide is your only option to do, sort of escape that. And as somebody who has dealt with bullying throughout most of my life, whether it be from kids in school or kids in summer camp, because I did go to a few summer camps and stuff like that, but bullying in general, no matter who it's from, can always hurt. But one thing I will say about it is, in the end, you always have that one escape from it, and that escape should never be self-harm or suicide. So, anyway, sorry that this video might have gotten a little emotional and the gameplay really doesn't match that or anything, but I just wanted to sort of talk about that dream because that one's been kind of haunting me for a bit. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and yeah, I'll see you guys next video or live stream or whatever I make.
The wolf remains one of his most feared enemies.